What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, my people? Oof. Who's here in the chat with me? Who's here in the chat with me before we get started? Who's here in the chat with me? Early bird roll call, early bird roll call. Today, we got some topics to talk about. Obviously, it's been a busy day for the Miami Hurricanes. We've been on Mensah watch. All that's about to come to an end. Shout out, shout out, shout out. There we go. The roll call has started. Igor Snowden. Philly Kane, Larry Bird. Shout out to Eugene. What's up with you? He's a member. I appreciate that. Mensah to Miami. All in. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What up, Jory? What up, Adrian? What up, what up, what up, what up? Mensah and Coop. Oh, my goodness. A double duty. Oh, man. See, if you would have just let us get the quarterback, we wouldn't have had time to realize y'all had a secret weapon on your squad. You let the man go to court. And we said, you know what? We'll take the wide receiver too. Oh, Lord. Carolina boy says, let's go, Hurricanes. Yes, sir. Let's go. At the 5-minute mark, we will start and discuss the topics. Still not official. What's taking so long? Look, man, what's taking so long is everything has to get approved. You know, the report about the TRO just came out. So, you know, the judge has to make sure everything's good with that. Then whatever we're giving Mensah, they got to make sure everything's good with that. Everything has to be, then we got to figure out, you know, how we're going to announce it. And we're not just trying to get one person. We're trying to get two high caliber players. And we're trying to finish the deal, man. Natty bound again. Look, the way that this team is coming together, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we feeling good. Are both of them going to be given the ability to enroll? Or do you think Cooper has already been enrolled secretly? Look, I'm not an insider, so I don't know. But from what I hear, things have been going on behind closed doors. That's, you know, I mean, let's be honest. What the things that when it's announced, if something is announced, most of the time, stuff has been going on behind closed doors to get all this set up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Cooper, he went to Harvard, then went to Duke, so he's going to be good. Shannon Dawson, that's something I want to talk about. Shannon Dawson. You know, pressure's on you, Shannon. Look, the thing about the transfer portal, and this is what I always say about, like I said this about LSU, when you start to add pieces via the transfer portal, you add a Darian Mensah, you add Cooper Burkott, you add a Conrad Hussey. The more talent you start to bring in, the more the expectations go up. And then you're coming off a national championship. So, look, you know, Mark Fletcher said he's coming back. All the running back room said he's coming back. The pressure is on Dawson. And look, Jacoby says Shannon Dawson will be fine with Mensah. We will have the number one offense again. Trust. I'm trusting. All I'm saying is just because I know this fan base is a tough fan base. So somebody's going to get blamed if things don't go properly. Because when you have the talent, hey, All right, so let's dive right into this, and then I will be taking questions at the end. We always like to do our little Q&A at the end because look, there is no live without the chat. You know what I'm saying? We do it for the chat. For the chat, by the chat, right? So let's go ahead and share the screen. There we go. We want to start right here. And basically, Darian Mensah and Cooper Burkott, they're already on campus, right? They're already on campus. So the news broke this morning that said Darian Mensah and Duke, they have settled. They settled, and Miami's not involved. Duke and Darian Mensah, they settle. And this whole ordeal is over. We don't have to go to court. There was a court day for the judge to hear everything. Now you don't have to do that because Duke and Darian Mensah's representation came to an agreement. All of the sides have put out statements talking about the process and how both sides are happy. And look, I made a video about this while I was discussing this situation. And look, everybody should be happy. Miami should be happy that they're about to get Darian Mensah and Cooper Burkott. Duke should be happy that they're going to get some type of compensation. There are programs out there that lost players that didn't get any compensation. They just got deuces. So you should be happy about that. You're going to get some type of compensation. Plus, y'all have already gotten the quarterback out the transfer portal. So y'all should just stop all the whining and crying. And then Darian Mensah, hey, you want to come play big boy ball? You want to come play for the national champion runner-up? Well, now you get to. And not only that, you should be able to enroll. So that news was this morning. Then Gabby Arrutia started to post some things like this. We got Darian Mensah, Cooper, and Mike Rump all riding around. And I do want to take this time to give a shout out to Mike Rump, who was on the staff. And then when Mario came, he decided to take a big role in the recruiting department. And I want to give him a shout out because I think that takes a lot of self-awareness. I think that takes a lot of not letting your ego get the better of you. He could have said, hey, I'm Mike Rump. You know what I've done for this program? I want to be the DB coach. I want to be the defensive coordinator. I was in the NFL. Do you know who I am? But no, he said, you know what? If I can help with the recruiting, I'm going to help with the recruiting. And he's done great things. You can see right now, he's giving a tour, or I don't know if it's a tour, but he's transporting Coop and Darian Mensah through campus, right? We got another picture, shout out to Gabby Arrutia. We got some other people. Shout out to everybody else in the recruiting department. He's on campus, dapping it up. Excited. Let's so that is today. So basically, this is what's going to happen. Soon it will be announced that Darian and Cooper are both coming to Miami. When that happens, the expectations for next season is immaculate. And look, you get a quarterback who has played in an ACC championship game. They've played at Tulane, they've played at Duke, and now they're going to play with a little bit more pressure. And I always say this. the heat that you get playing for Miami is different than some schools. Not all schools, but some schools. Miami fans, not only are you going to feel it around the program, but Miami fans are heavy on social media. So you're going to feel that pressure. If you produce, you're going to feel that love, right? Cam Ward, he came in, he put in work. He won us games. And it wasn't that Cam Ward was perfect. Cam Ward, he made mistakes, but you heard the stories. You saw the effort. You saw how much he loved the program. Carson Beck, everybody tried to say he was coming here for the women, for the Lambos, but you saw Carson Beck right off the bat. He's at the game with CJ Daniels. Right off the bat, he's inviting people over. Right as soon as he wins, he starts talking about how much he loves Miami and how much he's enjoying the game of football. And then, he got the handshake. You win games. And listen, you won't find a bigger Carson Beck defender on earth. Again, somebody who's not perfect, somebody who's made mistakes. But I say that to say, yeah, the pressure is always going to be there on a quarterback one. But if you produce, there's no love like the Miami Hurricane fan base love. If you produce, if you come here and do what you're supposed to do, you will reach a level of like we will root you on for life. You know what I'm saying? So you get a quarterback who, when I watch him, as I said, guys, if you go check out my Twitter, I've already did several cut-ups of him. He's not perfect, right? He's not perfect, but what quarterback is? But he's a quarterback that I have full confidence can take Miami to a national championship. He is a quarterback that you can win a national championship with. He is a quarterback that when I watch him, he will play within the system, but he's not afraid to take shots. And when he does take shots, he's accurate. Again, he's not perfect. I watched the Clemson game, and he almost got a couple passes intercepted. I watched the Arizona State game, and that game was like a track beat. But also when I was watching the film, I was saying the OC was cooking up some good stuff for him. So when Darian Mensah comes in, the expectations are going to be up. I don't think he's going to be perfect, but I do see a quarterback that can take Miami to the national championship. And then to see that, Mario said, "You know what? Hey, are y'all watching this film? Who is number 18?" So you're gonna go get not only a veteran wide receiver in Cooper, you're gonna go get somebody that has a serious connection. And let's be honest, we all have been somewhere. And y'all ever been in this predicament where it could be a town hall meeting? It could be a new football program. It could be a new lunch. It could be a new college class. It could be a new orientation for a job. And you walking in, you got a little butterflies maybe. But then you look over and you see somebody you know. Oh, man. Hey, I know you, dog. What up? That takes a lot of the butterflies out. So Darian Mensah coming over with his number one wide receiver will not only help him off the field, but on the field. So the positives are those that are very good. Mario looks like it's not official yet, but looks like, again, gets a good quarterback in the final hour, and I am very happy about that. I am excited because I know the quarterback position is not a question mark. Now, we will have to answer questions. In this year's questions, remember, guys, last year the question was, how does Miami replace 4 of his top pass catchers leaving? How are they going to do that? How are they going to do that? Horton went to Alabama. Restrepo George went pro. How are they going to replace these guys? The first game, we see little Malachi Tony. We see CJ Daniels. This year, the question will be, how will Miami replace this offensive line? And we've already seen a couple pieces come in through the transfer portal, but also there are some talented freshmen coming in. So the big question that will be asked throughout training camp and until we get to next season will be the offensive line. Now, somebody in the chat said that the pressure's on Shannon Dawson. I do feel like anytime when we had Josh Gaddis and when we had Coach Guidry, now we had Gaddis on offense and it didn't go well. We had to go get a new offensive coordinator. I said, whoever that offensive coordinator is, the first year they're playing with house money. Because you're playing with house money because you only can go up, right? Same thing with Coach Guidry and Coach Heatherman comes in. No matter what Coach Heatherman did this year, I knew it was going to be better than the defense we put out the year before because that defense was historically bad. So I knew Coach Heatherman's first year was going to be better. I didn't know it was going to be this good. As good of a season. He had a hell of a year. But now the pressure keeps getting up. When you play for the U and you are producing, hey, you got Darian Mensah, you got Cooper Burkott, you got one of the best wide receivers forget wide receivers, one of the best players in Malachi Tony. You got Mark Fletcher coming back. You got the whole running back room coming back. Shannon Dawson, this is your year, big dog. If the year goes how I planned it, I don't think Shannon Dawson will be here next year because with the talent that we have, we should light the scoreboard up so much that some schools should be wanting Shannon Dawson. We've heard rumors of him interviewing. Shannon, you got all the weapons now. You got all the weapons. Last year, people will say, well, you know, the offense had to change a little bit because, you know, Beck coming off the injury, the down the field wasn't there, the throwing the interceptions, you know, okay. The year before that, people didn't give you the credit that I thought you deserved a little bit because they said it's Cam Ward's offense. The thing about this is, Shannon, you got everything you need to succeed. I think you will succeed, but we'll see. Because I'll always say this, until it's done under the bright lights, hey, I'm still going to say what if, right? I'm still going to say what if. Whenever's reports about how good Malachi Tony is, I said, oh, you know, he a freshman. The freshmen, they got to get acclimated. And then them bright lights turned on and Malachi Tony said, who got to get acclimated? So today was a good day for the Miami Hurricanes. Now, some other news that was brought up. This post was put up by Canes Insight. And what they're saying is that linebacker Chase, this is Canes Muse with Canes Insight, says that Chase Smith will get another year eligibility and expected to return to the team for the 2026 season. Some people ask me, does Chase Smith have any more eligibility? And I really didn't know. I did not know if he did or not. There we go. I didn't know if he had another year. He does. So you got Chase Smith coming back. You got Mo Toure coming back. You got two veteran linebackers coming back. Two people who've been in the program for a while. They've only been in this system a year, but you got two guys coming back, and we got some young gunners behind them. We lost Popo, but this defense will have a lot of veterans on it. We also added Conrad Hussey, which is going to be a good safety, a good depth piece to add and see if he can do something and add something to this defense. So the overall team building has been there. And I'm excited. Let's see what some of you guys has to say. And I will be putting your questions on the screen. I'm going to roll back a little bit. Connor says the Spider-Man celebration is coming. Yeah, Cooper has a nice little celebration. I like that. Give us something to do at the games and get excited about. 36-4 last year at Duke. He'll be in New York at the Heisman ceremony with Dawson. Man, Danny, that is the goal. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he? Because if you kind of look at this situation, like this is very similar to the Fernando Mendoza. You're going from Cali to Indiana. You're going with a team that was in the playoffs last year. Mendoza's coming from Duke to Miami. And he's going to have running back. I mean, man, like, do you know, if I was Darian Mensah, and not only is Cooper coming with me, but I see Malachi Tony, oh my goodness. Fletcher will win the Heisman. It'll be interesting. Look, the other thing with talent is how will Dawson distribute the ball? Because you got Mark Fletcher, some people like my boy Johnny think he's going to win the Heisman. You got Marty Brown, you got Pringle, you got Lyle. They're all coming back. Well, are we going to run two backs? Are we going to run four backs? Are we going to alternate? But you also got Malachi Tony. Some people think Malachi Tony is going to win the Heisman, right? Some people think Josh Moore is going to break out. Well, you also got Cam Vaughn. You got other transfer wide receivers coming. So I'm interested to see how Dawson dials everything up. Remember, Dawson has said several times that this offense, it's not a drop back and throw it to Malachi Tony. It is the defense does this, so we do that. And the ball finds the player. So excited to see Dawson at OC, going to be safe for another year because we may have a talented quarterback. Man, he stinks. What? Rewrite that for me. Defensive replacement might be a big task. Yeah, as much as I ask Shannon Dawson and talks about the pressure he on, I did speak about this on my last live about Coach Heatherman. You don't have Bain, you don't have Mesidor, you do have talent. Damian Williams comes in, you got Block, you got Lightfoot, you got Lowe, you got Scroggins, you got talent. I'm interested to see what this defense looks like without Bain and Mesidor. That's going to be the big question for the defense. Shannon got to stop coaching scared, run up the score sometimes. I remember in that Texas A&M game, Shannon said he always wants to keep on the attack. But does Mario want to keep on the attack? I don't know if I don't know how all that works. Does Mario tell him to slow down? Does Mario tell him to keep going? Maybe because, after the Louisville game, throwing 4 interceptions, they said, look, we don't want to just start throwing the ball willy-nilly. We want to run the ball. And then if you look at the after the Stanford game, where we went 4 wide with Tony Johnson, from that on, we did run up the score. So what will it be like next year? And there are times where people say Miami took their foot off the neck, but you go back and watch it, and I'm seeing a missed block here, missed block there. In the Notre Dame game, people said they took the foot off the neck, but we were throwing the ball on 2nd and 3rd down. There was 2 pass interferences that weren't called, and there was 1 incompletion that wasn't connected. But if those pass interferences is called, then it's like, oh, we were attacking. If they catch the ball, it's, oh, we were attacking. But since those pass interferences didn't get called and the pass didn't get got, then it's, oh, they were conservative. Natty bound in 2026. Hey, Viva Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas. Timothy Grant, were you at the Natty? I was not at the Natty. The tickets, they were too rich for my blood. And then they said that they were kicking everybody out after the tailgate. So instead of going to where the championship game was, we decided just to go to Orlando, and we went to the Stadium Club. We had a good time. It was fun. Had a blast. Chased is fast. I do know that. Shout out to my boy Keith Wilson Jr. $9.99. Hey, I appreciate that. Real talk. He says, salute, OG. I think with our schedule, it's crucial. Shannon works the kinks out the first month. We can't wait to Notre Dame, and we got is a right hook and throw. Tight end room got to step up immensely. So, Keith, first of all, thank you for that donation. And then we also got to talk about the schedule. This is why when I started back doing lives, I said, you know what? I want to make sure I always implement a Q&A, because y'all help me remember things. I haven't even talked about the schedule, but I want to. I do want to talk about that. And I agree with you. Starting out with Stanford and Florida A&M, and then Wake Forest, Central Michigan. Yeah, you got to figure out what type of team we want to be, who's gonna step up, who's gonna make plays, and how everything's gonna work out. Because yeah, you don't want to have to respond when you first hit blood. But we're gonna take a look at the schedule. That is something that I wonder what's going to happen with the tight end position. I wonder, will we have one of our younger tight ends step up and do good things? Will Lofton become the full-time starter at tight end? Because I feel like when you don't have to worry about a tight end, that helps the defense out tremendously. Now, let's take a look at this schedule, right? Now, something I want to talk about is Wake Forest. I want to talk about Wake Forest because I think the Wake Forest coach that was the coach, he used to coach at Washington State. Um, they beat SMU last year, and then I believe they got Gio Lopez as their quarterback. They won the Mayo Bowl. We're playing at their house. I think that could be a trap game. Wake Forest, Friday night, at their home, a coach who has already done pretty good things at Wake Forest his first year, looking to really put his stamp. Hey, he's the offensive-minded coach. Hey, that's a game that could be a trap game. And think about it. You know, when you look at the schedule, you think, oh, we're going to start 4-0. Stanford, not worried about Stanford. Not worried about them, not worried about Central Michigan. Then we got Clemson. The big game like Death Valley versus Clemson. Even though Clemson hasn't been the Clemson that we all know, I think Clemson still has the respect. Dabo Swinney still has the respect. Their quarterback is a quarterback that I haven't watched a lot. Chris Vanini or something like that. But we will play Chris Johnson Jr. Dabo went out and got a new offensive coordinator in Chad Morris. It was Chad Morris, right? Yeah, Chad Morris used to coach with Dabo, ended up being the head coach at Arkansas, and now he's back with Dabo. And Clemson doesn't used to when it used to be when we played Clemson, oh, we're gonna be all hands on. I think straight up we can beat Clemson, but it's still a game you gotta respect. Florida State, I think this is gonna be Mike Norvell's last game. Yeah, I think this may be the game that gets Mike Norvell fired. Florida State, as of right now, nothing they have done has really moved me. They brought in Ashton Daniels. They brought back Deuce. Deuce is a really good wide receiver, but Miami did play well against them. You got the kid Sperry, who a lot of their players they want to start. You're playing them in week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in October. So listen, when you're playing Gus Malzahn, once October hit, you already know all the plays. Hey, when you're playing a Gus Malzahn offense, once you hit October, they got nothing new. They got nothing new. So, rivalry game, Miami looking to beat them again. Pitt, they're bringing back Heichel, but they also lost some key pieces like Biles, the quarterback. Their wide receiver went to Texas Tech. You got North Carolina, then you got Notre Dame. Boy, listen, Notre Dame fans, they can't wait to play this game. This is gonna be a good game right here, man. I'm excited for this game. I do have respect for Notre Dame I do think there'll be a good team next year, but I do feel like people are overhyping them a little bit. I want to see more. By November 7th, we'll know a lot about this team, but I want to see more. There are only 2 teams that they played that were good last year. They lost, and that was with the Heisman candidate running back. How are you going to not only replace him, but Jadarian Price? Now, they have made some moves in the transfer portal, bringing in some wide receivers for C.J. Carr. They got a couple young backs. And do y'all remember Aeneas Williams? Aeneas Williams, DB for the Saint. I think his son still plays I used to like Aeneas Williams. He played for the Rams. His son is a running back for Notre Dame. But by November 7th, we'll know a lot about them. But I'm not buying into they're going to win the national championship because a lot of people have CJ Carr as the Heisman favorite and Notre Dame as to win the championship. And then you got Duke. Boy, listen, this is the Jerry Springer matchup, right? This is the Jerry Springer matchup. You got Manny mad because Mario took his job. You got Manny mad because Mario took his quarterback. You got Manny mad because Mario took his wide receiver. So Duke, they're going to want to come and get that dub. They're not going to win. Then Virginia Tech, you got James Franklin, and then Boston College. So let's see. 3 of the last 4 are the last 3 are home games. So you finish with 3 games at home, which is cool. And I don't know, we don't know how good these teams are going to be, but Notre Dame is going to be a team where if we beat them, it's going to help us in playoff talk. And right now, that's the only team that I know that will do that. You know, everybody else on our list, they could be good, they could be bad. Clemson, I don't know about their quarterback and their new offense. So Pitt, I do think Pitt can be a team that can help us in the playoff discussion. Virginia Tech, I have a lot of respect for James Franklin. He brought a lot of players over from Penn State, got the recruiting going, and he was there early. So I think that helps, right? That's going to help. Not only do coaches, does he have the transfer portal to help him succeed in year 1, but he got hired early. He was like the first coach to get hired, to get in the building, and to get things changed over. So we'll see. Back to the questions. That was a great comment by my boy Keith. Thank you, Keith. Fam, I think we run the table. Well, look, the thing about Mario Cristobal, and this is something, look, I fight back on a lot of narratives, but when it comes to the big games, Mario wins those. When it comes to teams that shouldn't beat us, Mario has been susceptible to those. So we'll see. In Mario, I trust. G Nice. What up, my boy G Nice? G Nice, hey, he been with the channel for a long time. Shout out to G Nice. Who said we're gonna finally win the ACC? I think this is our year. I'm going to go to it. This is my plan this year, right? Because I went to it. First of all, it's so good to talk about your team being a playoff favorite team. It feels good. Last year or this year, we went to Texas A&M and we went to the Cotton Bowl. And I think this year I want to go to the ACC championship game. I want to be there when we win the ACC championship game. So I'm already saving the money up for the end of the year for the ACC championship and for the playoff run. That's what. Look, I know some of y'all are big time, and y'all can just go to the bank account when the playoffs start. I'm going to put a little bit of money up as the season goes along, and then hopefully that we can go on a run, and your boy can live it up. 11-1, worst case scenario. It's great to be a Miami Hurricane. My brother Jay Blaze, how we living, how we feeling? I agree. Mezzy, Bain, Thomas, and Scott, huge losses, yes. So you're losing Mezzador, you're losing Bain. but they have been coaching up and getting a Armando Blunt, a Marquise Lightfoot, and then you add Damian Wilson. And then you lose Scott and Thomas. How many plays did they make? Too many to count. Hell, Scott, in my eyes, should have won the Jim Thorpe Award. So you're going to look for players like Fitzgerald. You played great this year. Can you go to another level? Right? Thornton, Hussey, what can you give to the team? Dylan Day, can you give us something? Poyser, we'll see what he got. He had a pretty good year. Shout out to Sage, a member of the channel. I think we beat Wake Forest. They have that slow mesh offense. We thrive on those. They no longer have that offense. I don't think they have the slow mesh anymore. Wake Forest got a new coach. He came from Washington State. Like I said, they won the Mayo Bowl. Let's see, what's their coach name? Jake Dickert. Yeah. Beat Mississippi State. I think we beat them. But I don't think we can overlook them. Johnny says we lost Bell, Maui Goa, Inez Cooper too. Yeah, the offensive line is the big question on offense. Quarterback, solved. Running back, solved. Wide receiver, solved. Tight end and O-line. Those are going to be the questions that you hear throughout this offseason. Mario has the U back where we reload. Damari Brown should have a breakout year. Listen, I don't want to put any expectations on Damari Brown. I just hope he can stay healthy. If Damari Brown stays healthy throughout this year, people will be talking about him in a great way. Because that's the only thing that's been holding him back is staying healthy. Juan says, NMD Grant, I believe Mario is grown as a coach. I think he has found a switch to motivate his team. Pain, losing competition is the enemy of complacency. Yeah, I think Mario, we're the blueprint. We're 1 year earlier on the blueprint. And I think now we're set up to keep this thing rolling. I'm not expecting us to win the championship every year. I mean, that would be great, but let's be honest here. But I do think we're postseason contention every year. I do. I think Mario has us right. Gio Lopez has a weak arm. The UNC tape proves he can't play. He does have a weak arm, but Wake Forest coach, they had Robbie Ashford as their quarterback last year, and they was able to win multiple games. Like I said, they beat SMU. They won a bowl game. And if anybody's watched Robbie Ashford play, you would be saying that was a good coaching because he was never a good quarterback in my eyes. Looking at the schedule, there are very few games on there that's not on a Saturday. Yeah, that makes me mad, man. It's like I don't I don't mind a Thursday game here or a Friday game here, but it's when you put the games on those days, you're basically taking traveling Miami Hurricanes fans out of it. And then it's like I like when we played Notre Dame, that game was on a Sunday? Now, I would rather our games be on Saturday, but at least all eyes are going to be on you. Everybody's not going to be watching Miami and FAMU unless they start to dominate. I don't like it. I'm with Mario. Put the games on Saturday. Jackson Cantwell will be a freshman All-American. Ooh, that's saying a lot. That is saying a lot. Freshman All-American, maybe. But that's saying a lot, especially if he's playing tackle. Because that tackle position is not for the that tackle position. You gotta be a big boy. You gotta be a grown boy to do that. Hilton says, never underestimate your opponent. That's what I want to see us do this year. I don't want to see us just beat our weaker opponents. I want to see us really beat them, right? Like we did a Syracuse, like we did a Stanford, like we did NC State. I want us to pummel them. Pummel them. We proved we can grind. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We did do that. We proved we can grind. We definitely can grind. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off here, man. I appreciate everybody rocking with the stream. Stay locked in. Turn your notifications on. That way, when I do go live, it will notify your phone. I appreciate everybody who jumped in the live stream. I appreciate the members who signed up, and I appreciate the super chats. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.